When he goes silent after a fight, it can feel louder than yelling. The room might be quiet, but your mind starts filling in the gaps. Is he done with me? Is he punishing me? Does he even care? Silence hits a special nerve because humans are wired to seek connection and clarity after conflict. When we do not get a response, our brain treats it like a threat and starts scanning for meaning. Psychology has a name for this: withdrawal. In many relationships, one person tends to pursue the conversation while the other tends to pull back. This is often called a pursue-withdraw pattern. It is not always about love or lack of love. It can be about nervous system overload, fear of saying the wrong thing, or learned habits from past experiences. One psychology fact to know is that conflict can trigger a stress response similar to physical danger. Heart rate rises, breathing changes, muscles tighten, and the brain shifts into survival mode. In that state, some people fight, some flee, and some freeze. Silence can be a version of freeze or flee, not necessarily a calculated move. For many men, silence after an argument is connected to social conditioning. Some boys grow up learning that showing emotion leads to shame, punishment, or being told to man up. So when emotions get big, they do not have a practiced language to express them safely. Silence becomes the default because it feels less risky than speaking. Another psychology piece: some people need time to regulate before they can communicate. If his body is flooded with stress hormones, he may literally struggle to access calm reasoning. In that moment, talking can feel impossible. You might not be choosing silence to hurt you. He might be trying not to explode or say something he will regret. But silence can also be a strategy. There is a difference between taking space to cool down and using silence as a weapon. Healthy space comes with an explanation and a return plan. Weaponized silence comes with ambiguity, punishment, and control. A quick check: does his silence come with a message like, "I need 30 minutes to calm down, then we can talk"? Or does it come with days of coldness, ignoring texts, and acting like you do not exist? The intention matters, and the impact matters too. Even if he is overwhelmed, prolonged silence can still be harmful. Some people shut down because they fear escalation. If arguments in his past turned into shouting, insults, or emotional chaos, his brain may associate conflict with danger. Silence becomes a protective wall. It is his way of keeping the situation from getting worse, even if it makes you feel abandoned. Attachment styles can play a role. People with avoidant attachment often cope with emotional intensity by creating distance. They may feel engulfed or criticized quickly, even when you are simply asking for closeness. Silence helps them feel in control again. On the other side, people with anxious attachment often experience silence as rejection. They may chase reassurance, replay the fight, and feel unable to relax until connection is restored. If you are anxious and he is avoidant, silence can trigger a painful cycle. You reach, he retreats. You reach harder, he retreats further. Sometimes silence is actually shame. Shame is the emotion that says, "I am bad," not just "I did something bad." When a person feels shame, they may shut down, avoid eye contact, or disappear emotionally. Talking would mean facing the possibility that they hurt you or failed. Sometimes silence is stubbornness. He might believe that if he does not respond, the problem will go away. That is emotional avoidance. Avoidance can feel like peace in the short term, but it usually grows problems in the long term. Sometimes silence is confusion. Not everyone can instantly sort their feelings into neat sentences. He may be trying to understand what he feels, what he thinks, and what he wants. If he speaks too soon, he might contradict himself or sound harsh. But here is the key psychology fact. Your nervous system reads silence as information. Even if he means nothing by it, your brain experiences the lack of response as uncertainty. Uncertainty is stressful. It can activate rumination, catastrophizing, and a constant urge to fix it now. So what do you do when he goes silent? First, regulate yourself. Before trying to pull him back into the conversation, take a breath and notice what is happening inside you. Are you angry, scared, desperate, embarrassed? Naming your emotion can reduce its intensity and help you respond rather than react. Next, separate pause from punishment. A pause is a break to prevent damage. Punishment is a break designed to cause pain. If you are not sure which it is, look at his patterns. Does he come back calmer and willing to talk? Or does he come back acting like you are the problem for needing communication? If it seems like a pause, you can support it with structure. Try something like, I can see you need space. I'm okay taking a break. Can we check in at 7 p.m. to finish this? This does two things. It respects his need to calm down and protects your need for resolution. If he refuses any structure and disappears emotionally, you have a bigger issue. Healthy relationships require repair after conflict. If silence becomes the main way problems are handled, the relationship slowly loses trust. The message becomes, your feelings will not be met here. It is also important to watch your own behavior. If your approach during conflict is intense, rapid fire, or full of interruptions, he may shut down faster. This does not mean you are wrong to want answers. It means the delivery might be overwhelming, especially if he is conflict avoidant. A helpful approach is to speak in short, clear sentences. Focus on one issue at a time. Instead of listing 10 things he did wrong, pick the core point. The calmer and more specific you are, the easier it is for him to stay engaged. Timing matters too. Some people cannot process conflict at midnight, during work stress, or when they are hungry or exhausted. That is not an excuse to avoid the conversation forever, but it is a real factor. A planned conversation in a calmer moment can go better than a forced talk during an emotional peak. Another psychology fact: stonewalling is one of the strongest predictors of relationship dissatisfaction. Stonewalling is when someone shuts down, refuses to respond, avoids eye contact, and essentially blocks communication. It often happens because the person is overwhelmed, but it still damages connection over time. If his silence includes contempt or coldness, take it seriously. Silence paired with eye-rolling, sarcasm, or whatever energy can be a form of emotional aggression. It communicates disrespect without words. Respect is non-negotiable in healthy conflict. Sometimes he goes silent because he does not know how to apologize. Apologizing requires vulnerability and emotional skill. If he grew up in an environment where apologies were rare or dangerous, he might avoid them. Silence becomes a way to dodge responsibility. In some cases, silence after a fight is linked to depression or burnout. When someone is emotionally depleted, even small conflicts can feel like too much. They may withdraw because they have no energy left. If you notice other signs like low mood, sleep changes, or loss of interest, the silence may be part of a bigger mental health picture. There is also the possibility of manipulation. The silent treatment is a known control tactic in some unhealthy relationships. It keeps you off balance and makes you work harder for basic connection. If you find yourself constantly apologizing just to end the silence, that is a red flag. A simple test: after he goes silent, who ends up doing the emotional labor? If you are always the one reaching out, smoothing things over, and making peace, the silence may be shifting responsibility onto you. Conflict resolution should be shared, not outsourced to one partner. Another important distinction: silence is not the same as boundaries. A boundary sounds like, I will not continue this conversation while we are yelling. I will talk when we are calm. Silence without communication is not a boundary. It is an absence. If you want to respond skillfully, try soft startups. That means opening with respect and ownership. For example, I do not like how we left things. I want to understand you, and I also want you to understand me. Soft startups lower defensiveness and increase the chance he will re-engage. When he does speak again, resist the urge to punish him back. It is tempting to say, oh, so now you want to talk. But that can reinforce his belief that talking leads to attack. Instead, acknowledge the return. Thanks for coming back to this. Let's try to do it differently. Still, do not minimize your needs. You can be kind and firm at the same time. You might say, I can give you space, but I cannot do hours or days of silence without any plan. That feels unsafe to me emotionally. Clear needs are not nagging. They are information. If he says, I just need space, you can ask for specifics without pressuring. How much time helps you calm down? Do you prefer texting first or talking face to face? This turns vague withdrawal into a workable process. A process reduces fear on both sides. If he refuses every attempt to build a process, that is data. A partner who wants a healthy relationship will usually be willing to find a middle ground. Not perfect, not immediate, but willing. Refusal may signal immaturity, avoidance, or lack of investment. Watch what happens after the silence ends. Does he repair the damage? Repair can look like an apology, a hug, a real conversation, or change behavior. If he acts like nothing happened and expects you to pretend too, the relationship will accumulate unresolved pain. One powerful skill is to name the cycle, not blame the person. When we fight, I get anxious and want to talk right away, and you go quiet. Then I push, and you pull away more. Can we work on that together? Naming the cycle frames you as a team against the pattern. Another psychology fact. People communicate not only with words, but with timing, attention, and responsiveness. Silence communicates something whether intended or not. That is why it is fair to talk about it as a behavior that affects you, not as a mystery you must tolerate. If you are dealing with consistent stonewalling, consider setting a rule for arguments. A simple rule. Either partner can call a timeout, but they must name a return time within 24 hours. This protects both nervous systems, his need for calm and your need for closure. It also helps to build connection outside conflict. If the relationship is mostly stress, then fights feel like emergencies. But if you have daily warmth, compliments, and shared routines, conflict feels less threatening. People return from silence faster when they trust the relationship is stable. If he is silent because he cannot express emotions, encourage emotional vocabulary in small ways. Ask questions like, are you more angry, hurt, or overwhelmed? Give options. Many people find it easier to choose a word than to generate one. This is not babying. It is skill building. But remember, you are not his therapist. Support is healthy, but you should not have to train your partner to treat you with basic respect. If his silence becomes chronic and damaging, professional help like couples therapy can be appropriate if he is willing. Pay attention to how you feel in your body during the silence. Do you feel panicky, nauseous, unable to focus? That matters. Your body is giving you information about emotional safety. You are allowed to take your own space too, rather than staying stuck in anxious waiting. If the silence is triggering, create a self-rescue plan. Call a friend, take a walk, write down your thoughts, or do something grounding like a shower or stretching. The goal is not to distract forever. The goal is to keep your nervous system stable until communication resumes. If he comes back and tries to rewrite the story, be careful. Sometimes silence is followed by denial. You're too sensitive. Nothing happened. That is not repair. That is invalidation. Healthy repair includes acknowledging your experience, even if his intention was different. If you want to communicate your needs clearly, use a simple formula: behavior, impact, request. When you stop responding after a fight, I feel anxious and disconnected. I need you to tell me you need a break and when you will come back. This is firm without being insulting. If he responds defensively, stay anchored. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm saying this pattern hurts me and I want a better way. Framing it as improvement rather than accusation can lower the fight or flight reaction. If the relationship includes repeated silent treatment, threats of leaving, or emotional withholding, consider whether this is an emotionally safe environment. Love is not only feelings. It is behavior. Consistent emotional unavailability can erode your self-esteem and create chronic stress. At the same time, if his silence is a genuine regulation need and he is working on it, progress can happen. Look for signs like shorter shutdowns, clearer communication about breaks, willingness to revisit the issue, and ownership of his part. Change is usually gradual, not instant. A healthy goal is not never go silent. Everyone needs pauses sometimes. The goal is responsible silence. Responsible silence says, I'm overwhelmed. I care about us. I will come back and I will repair. That kind of space can actually protect the relationship. If you take one psychology fact from this, take this. Conflict is not what destroys relationships most often. Unrepaired conflict does. Silence without return is unrepaired conflict. Communication after the calm is what rebuilds trust. So when he goes silent after a fight, do not only ask, why is he like this? Also ask, what pattern are we in? What do I need to feel safe? And what is he willing to do to meet me halfway? The answer to those questions will tell you whether the silence is a temporary coping style you can work through, or a long-term dynamic you should not have to endure.